Achieve your health goals, 5 simple steps. So if you're working out or driving, just listen, take it in. I'm going to do my best to deliver the best information I can as far as achieving your goals, 5 simple steps. If you do by chance have at home and have access to pen and paper, you may want to consider grabbing that pen and paper and writing it down and taking a few notes, because there's going to be some things you may want to write down and just lock into memory that you might just forget if you just count on your memory. So that's just one thing to consider if you are able to, but if not, just take it in. We're going to go over some how to achieve your health goals. I'm going to give you 5 simple steps. First things first is to have a clear, specific goal. And that's not even part of the 5 simple steps. But that's the whole first step. If you could wave a realistic magic wand and you could have your body, your health, and your energy, flexibility, everything, if you could have it all exactly how you wanted it between now and, say, a year from now, what would that be like for you? This is us doing a goal-setting exercise for you right now. So think about it. If you could just wave that realistic magic wand and you could have your body, your health, your energy, any kind of way you wanted it to be between now and a year from now, what does that look like for you? Consider having a very clear, specific goal, like body weight, whether you use pounds, kilos, or stones, right? If you live in the UK. Whatever you use, decide that clear, specific goal. You want to weigh a certain amount of much at a certain body fat. That's a really clear and easy way to do it. You can do other ways, clothes size, mirror size, but I suggest to consider a clear, specific goal with a specific body weight and a specific body fat percent. So I'll use myself as an example. My goal is that I'm happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. That's a very clear, specific goal. I'm saying I want to be at least 190 pounds because I'm someone that wants to build muscle and sustain it and stay lean, not get a high body fat percent. So I have a goal body weight. I want to weigh at least, my goal is that I'm happy and grateful now that I'm 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat, meaning I could be 195 pounds, and if I'm at or below 10% body fat, that still qualifies, right? But that's the goal, right? So it's not 195 pounds at 12% body fat. That's not my goal. This is very clear and specific. So what is yours? I encourage you to have a very clear, specific goal. Write it down. This is one of the things that I was going to ask you to write down your goal, if you're able to write down. If not, just lock it into memory. And then as you write the number down, the body weight and body fat percent, right? Now, not everybody knows how to look up body fat percent or what their body fat percent is. There are basically 2 basic ways to look up body fat percent that I found generally for most people. One is, like, I go to my doctor and they have what's called a DEXA scan. A lot of the doctors now have them, and they scan everything. I mean, everything. I get a full 3-page report, body fat's included. But then also too, say if you don't have access to that, right? What can you do? Well, one thing that I like to recommend to consider is to go to Google, do an images search for men's and women's body fat percentages. And usually you're going to come up with men's or women's, and it'll be from the lean body fat, like under 5%, and then up over, 30% towards the obese, right? So really ripped to the really obese, and same for the women. And then you can look at the picture and say, okay, well, this is where I'm at currently. Say if you're a male and you are currently 20% body fat, and you look at the scale and you say, okay, that's about right. I'm currently about 20% body fat, but my goal is to be, say, between 10 and 12% body fat. You can look at that on the scale, right? So you can choose by looking at the photos, basically. Just kind of, if you can look at a photo and kind of gauge where you're at now and where you want to be based on the photos. That's just a hack that doesn't cost anything but a little Google search. So consider that. Now, once you have your goal, and if you're writing it down, you have your body weight and your body fat percent. Now, consider writing this affirmation / prayer down to the affirmation, so you can lock this into your mind so you can achieve this, right? So beforehand on the statement, I write this: I am happy and grateful now that I am at body fat. Right? That's how you phrase it, right? So I'm happy and grateful now that I am. And sometimes you can say, like, boom, this weight, boom, this body fat. Me, I like to say, well, for me, it's, I want to be at least this much weight and at least this body fat percent. So if you're going down, you might want to say, I want to at least be, say if you're going down, say to 120 and be this body fat, So make sure you dial it in the way you see works best for you. Okay? So now once you have that goal, you're clear and specific. Once you do this, you are way ahead of the game, because most people don't have a clear and specific goal. I'm always asking my clients, whether it's virtual clients or in-person clients, okay, because you can always reassess your goals. What are your goals from here? What do you want to do from here? I want to lose 5 more pounds. I want to do this, and so that way we lock that in. Then that way I, as a coach, know, and then that way you know your goal, right? So being very and goals can change. Mine has adjusted even within the last year. I've adjusted it several times, and that's the thing. You just kind of like we know where we want to go, but we're making constant adjustments. We're not just going to go in a straight line towards the overall goal. There's going to be ups and downs and some adjustments. So we can adjust our goal anytime, but just be clear and specific. Consider being clear and specific on what your goal is. That way you know exactly what you want to achieve. Right? Now, so once you have that, the 5 simple steps are exercising, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, mindset. They're all important. One thing, to make change in your body, to build muscle, to stimulate fat loss, to be healthy, really the core 3 are, exercising, nutrition, recovery, right? The supplements and the mindset are important. I feel like they're in different ways. When it comes to your activity levels on a day-to-day basis, the 3 best core activities for you to consider is exercising, eating healthy, and getting good sleep. Right? Well, let's look at that. So in regards to training or exercise, I encourage you to have both strength training and cardiovascular training. Imagine for a moment that we have a twin-engine airplane and we're flying along. On one engine is strength training and one engine is cardiovascular engine. Now, some people, it's funny, I've seen my whole life, some people love strength training and they hate cardio. I used to be a member of that club, and some people love cardio and they dislike strength training. Right? I encourage you to figure out how to get happy with both and consider having both in your exercise program. One engine being on the plane being cardio, one engine being strength training. There's lots of ways to get that done. It's like so many ways. It's ridiculous. It's a lot of ways. But just saying, I encourage you to to figure out how to get that done, whether you do it 3 days a week, 5 days a week, 4 days a week, whether you do it all in one setting, or you do cardio in the morning, weights in the afternoon, whatever. Now, when it comes to building a quality strength training program, consider the 5 principles of training. You want to include proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. All right. Let's take a look at these individually. Why proper form? Why would proper form be important? Well, think about it. You might get hurt if you're not doing it properly. And getting hurt really stinks because it sets us back. Now we're injured and we can't stimulate that part of the body anymore. So it's a big thing. Proper form is really big for not getting an injury. Please don't underestimate that. Number 2 is that we're getting the most out of the form, right? There's lots of ways to mess it up, right? Just on a basic barbell curl, for example. A common mistake I see in the gym a lot is people are coming up, bringing the bar all the way up to the shoulders, right? And then down. They go here, and then I don't mind a little swing, but this here is what I really dislike. See how the hands are too close to the shoulders right there? So learning proper form, if you study proper form, most people, depending on how long their arm is, it's going to be about 5 to 6 inches, depending on the taller the person, the more out, the shorter the arms, the more in. Probably between 5 and 6 inches in front of the shoulders, right? So when you bring it down, you bring it up. Now we're working right on the bicep, right? Versus when it's up here, it's not on the bicep. So that's one of the pros of proper form, is so that we're stimulating the muscle effectively, right? And we're not going to get hurt. 2 big reasons. So proper form, variety. Why would variety be an important part of a exercise training program? Why would you want to change it up from time to time? Think about it. Well, have you ever heard of a plateau, right? So a plateau is where you get stuck. And I see that it is a common thing I've seen. And it usually happens when people's been working out between 6 months and a year. We just get used to doing the same thing, right? It's just nature. It's just natural, right? And what I mean by the same thing in strength training, doing the same rep ranges, always, 10 or 12, always, usually, or whatever it is. Always doing the same tempo, which is the speed of the movement, always maybe going, the same tempo up and down, never changing the tempo. We can change the tempo. Did you know that? You can go 5 seconds on the way down. You can go 3 seconds on the way down. You can go 2 seconds on the way down. You can pause 1 second at the top or no pause at the top. You can do different exercises altogether. You can do different rep ranges. You can do 5 rep range. You can do a 30 rep range. Variety I've found is for someone that's been, if you keep doing it a while, if you stick longer than 6 months, it's very important to make sure you include variety into your program, because your body starts to adapt. And if you change it up, and the better you change it up, what I've just learned, I've been working out for 40 years, so my body really adapts quick. And I love 4-week routines now. So I'll do a routine for 4 weeks, and then I'll change it, do another workout routine for 4 weeks, change it, do another workout routine for 4 weeks, right? I still may do cardio in the morning, strength in the afternoon, but I'm changing the strength part around more, right? So we talked about proper form, variety. Let's look at intensity, the third principle principles of training principles. Intensity. Say we're doing push downs. We're doing a push down exercise. Okay, we're pushing down, and say we're going to go for 12 repetitions, and we get to 11 and 12. Oh, we can't get any more, and we get 12. Ugh. What's the most beneficial part of that exercise? The first few reps or the last few reps? Think about it. Well, it'd be the last few, right? That's where the overload comes. That's where the challenge occurs. When you're pushing through on that last couple of reps and you're pushing down and you're pushing down, you squeeze and you can't do any more. You can't do any more. That's the overload. That's where the muscle is breaking down. That's the intensity. And then through rest and nutrition, the muscle comes back and grows back bigger and stronger, right? But that intensity that's kind of where those last few reps are, where it's the most challenging and the most overload. And the more, if you can push yourself in a good way, you're going to stimulate your muscles to grow. And provided you sleep and eat enough, you will grow, right? Okay. So that's the idea behind that. So we talked about proper training, nutrition. No, we're talking about proper training, 5 principles of training, of strength training, proper form, variety, intensity. Let's look at the 4th principle of training. Proper training principles. Be sure to include several different proper training principles. If you want to have some fun, do a Google or a ChatGPT search and just look up training principles, exercise, weight training, shocking principles. There's a lot of things that come up in that category. There's all kind of ways, all sorts of training principles that we can incorporate, and I'd love for you to learn them, but it just takes a study and a curiosity. You know, if you love fitness, if you really want to get good at fitness, I encourage you to go at it. Go at it with a childlike enthusiasm. Be curious. How does muscle grow? What workouts work really good? What body parts work really well together? What's a good routine for burning fat? What does a good diet look like? Encourage you to be curious and go at it. Don't feel any guilt about what you may have eaten or done in the past. Just go forward your fitness journey with a childlike enthusiasm and consider being fascinated with learning how all this stuff works and implementing it. It does take action. So you must figure out an exercise program that you enjoy and take action on it, right? So we talked about proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles. Then last but not least of the training, what makes up a good training program is consistency. Now, what do you think about is the importance and the priority? Why is consistency so important when it comes to an exercise program? Very important, right? So imagine for a moment, let's say you have you and say you have a twin of you, and say you're going for the same goals together. I'm doing this exercise with you together in my head. So we're going to meet back in 1 year. Now, say you worked out 4 days a week, cardio and strength. You ate 80-90% healthy. Nobody's perfect unless you're a champion. You slept, you got a 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a night. You got your 2 hours REM and 2 hours deep. You supplemented intelligently. You daily affirmed your goals. The other person started off that way, but then missed a workout here and there. Some days had some processed sugar, Some days skipped a meal. Some days didn't sleep, get the full sleep. Some days skipped a workout. At the end of the year, who's going to have the best results? That's right, the consistent person. Exactly. So consider being consistent with your training. Consider being consistent with using proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. Now, in your overall routine, consider being consistent with your exercise program, your nutrition program, your recovery program, your supplement program, and your mindset program. That's the big picture. Right? Now, let's look at nutrition. The way we eat, I feel, basically affects our bodies, and that's going to affect our fitness journey in 4 different major ways: our energy levels, our metabolism, our blood sugar levels, and our insulin levels. Now, let's take for a moment, say that we want to build a 2-story house from scratch. And imagine that we only have half the materials necessary to build the house. How far are we going to get? Part of the way, right? The foods that you and I eat on a daily basis, the foods, the proteins, right? If you want to build muscle, the proteins, right, helps us build muscle. But if we don't have enough nutrients to build the muscle, you're not going to build the muscle, right? So, and I hate that term, but the skinny fat term, and I hate it when people feel that way. And it's often when they undereat, they overdiet, they overtrain, and they undereat. And that's not a good combo. There's that fine balance between eating enough to build muscle, but yet having your metabolism in a place where you're burning fat. So it's important as you're building your body to consider what you're going to eat every day. Right? So everybody's different as far as amounts. If you're a 110-pound female versus if you're a 300-pound male, it's just everybody's different, have different needs. But consider what's best for you. But do consider as a broad view a whole food plant-based approach, where half the intake is your daily intake is from fruits and vegetables. The other half is from whole grains and proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds, protein shakes. I've been having some delicious fun with my smoothies with a chocolate peanut butter plant-based smoothie with almond milk and ice, and whoo, it's delicious. So it can be delicious. You can have so much tasty fun on your plant-based, whole food plant-based journey. If you want to learn more about it, consider the documentary called The Game Changers. It's on Forks Over Knives, and that one's too, but it's on Netflix and YouTube. Forks Over Knives. Consider that. Now let's look at what happens when we eat food. Imagine for a moment that we have a fireplace, and on one hand we have a stack of oak wood, and on the other hand we have a stack of paper, right? Now, not including kindling and getting the fire started, but if you had to choose between the oak wood or the paper to burn in your fireplace, which one would you pick and why? Think about it. So not including the kindling part, right? So most of us would choose the oak wood. And why? Because the oak wood is going to burn longer. slower, more steady. So with you, whole foods like fruits and vegetables and whole grains and plant-based proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds burn really slow and efficiently. It's going to assist you to burn fat while sustaining muscle growth. And that is the hack of the century right there. When you understand that, it's one thing that I know it because I've done it my whole life and it helped other people feel it. But when you can feel that you're eating enough to build and sustain energy, because people that eat plant-based have a lot of energy, they have great sex. Speaking of that, side note for the men on the channel, let's talk about boners for a minute, right? All people love to have quality boners, and it's a sensitive topic, but with nutrition, I feel it's important because once men know that they can enhance their boners with a plant-based whole food diet, then a lot of them will switch just for that. But think about it for a minute. Say someone that has cardiovascular disease and their arteries are so clogged up that eventually most of them have to get a bypass or a stent put in, right? That's clogged up, right? All of our sexual organs are high flow, blood flow area. And the better the blood flow, the better boners men will have. So look it up if you don't believe me. Eating a plant-based diet will enhance your boners. Right. So moving on to the next topic. Let's look at recovery, right? I've had the honor of training 3 different neurologists over the last several years, and they've all said in their sleep studies that 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a night is where it's at. I just read recent data, and you can look it up from Brian Johnson, the guy behind the documentary Don't Die. He's a little eccentric, but a lot of smart people are, right? But he recommends 2 hours of REM sleep and 2 hours of deep sleep, right? So takes about 8 for everybody's different, but I guess it takes about 7.5 to 9 hours for most people to achieve that. But that's just something to consider. That's just science. So I encourage you to, and this is one thing Brian said in his documentary, that sleep is the #1 thing almost every human can do that will give you the most health benefits. That's really of no additional cost, or you just have to put in the time and get the sleep. You know, you get the sleep every night consistently. It helps you recover it helps you strengthen your immune system. I feel like for me, it helps me to just, stronger immunity. Like I'm just like warding off all these, all these nasty viruses that go around. So consider getting your sleep. Sleep is very, very important and can do you a lot of good. Consider 7.5 to 9 hours and 2 hours of deep, 2 hours of REM. I don't use wearables or measurables for fitness yet. I'm looking into it. But if you do track it, it's quite fascinating because they can measure the REM and the deep nowadays. But anyway, let's move on to the next thing, supplements. There are basically, I feel, 2 categories of supplements: nutritional supplements and enhancement performance supplements. Nutritional supplements is like a protein shake. And I just told you how much I love mine. And an enhancement performance supplement is like creatine monohydrate. Or if you're over 40 and you're doing TRT, it's anything prescribed, by medical prescriptions, those kind of things. So, but what's the base? Exercise, nutrition, recovery, then supplements, right? And then last but not least is mindset. Now imagine for a moment that we're building a big 2-story building. And you know those machines out front, the cranes with the big crane and the person in the box? Well, I feel like that person in the box is our brain, our mind, our mindset. And our mindset tells our body what to do, not the other way around. So today's Sunday right now, in case you're watching on the replay. And tomorrow morning, when it comes time to do my first cardio, I'm jumping on it. There's no question. I'm not, oh, am I going to do it today? I feel tired. There's none of that. My brain says it's time to do it, and I do it. Matter of fact, it's my favorite cardio session of the week is Monday morning cardio. But sometimes your brain, if you're not careful, can talk you out of it. Oh, you're tired today. You got this going on. And give you excuses, right? So be aware of that. Our brain, our mindset controls us, our body, not the other way around. Now, getting back to the big overall picture to help you achieve your health goals. In the beginning of the video, we talked about setting clear, specific goals. So it's important that we leave here today that you know your clear, specific goals. So if you could wave that realistic magic wand and you could have your body, your health, your energy, any kind of way you wanted it to be, what is that for you? Assign a specific body weight to it and a body fat percent, ideally, and then back it up with this phrase and say it every day. Memorize it, internalize it. I am happy and grateful now that I am, and then state your goal body weight and your goal body fat percent. I am happy and grateful now that I am, state your goal body weight. I'll use myself as an example. I am happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat, feeling strong and healthy like a supple leopard, thick brown hair, 20/20 vision, perfect teeth, supple skin. See how you can go on and you can say all your goals that passionately, right? With feeling. And I want to leave this with understanding the importance of what that affirmation says. And if you internalize it for yourself, how much it's going to really assist you. And it only costs you your energy. I feel like energy well spent for you. So it's, I am happy and grateful now that I am. So what is that saying? I am. That is a very powerful, spiritual even statement. I am happy and grateful. Now, gratefulness, from what I understand, is a very high level emotion. Emotions, certain feelings have vibrational levels, and gratefulness, being truly grateful, not just saying the words, but feeling grateful when you say it. I am happy and grateful. Yeah, like you mean it, right? I am happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. And you can say it and internalize your goal. You fill in the blanks for yours. I feel like it'll really, and then plus you got to back it up with action. You got to be on an exercise program. There's lots of ways to do it. Eat healthy, get your rest. And a lot of times, sometimes we just need accountability. And that is what I do. I do have a virtual fitness training opportunity. If you're interested, my information is inside the somewhere in the description. Text me so we can set up a complimentary consultation. It's very affordable for all the value that it delivers. And I can virtually hold you accountable. We can meet on the phone every week, and I can hold you accountable to your goals. So sometimes we just need a lift and accountability from a professional, but not from a friend or a loved one, someone that, we don't want to get into that with our friends and loved ones, but someone that's a professional, someone that can just guide you to that next level. I'd be honored to assist you with that. My goal is to come at you bring your questions or any of your friends every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be blessed, and remember that health is wealth. And be blessed, and I'll be back.